Hi everyone, it's Miss Landis here. I hope that everybody had a relaxing spring break. Today our assignment is to complete the 10-1 through 10-3 review, set A, B, and C. It's not that many problems, so it shouldn't take you very long. Since it is a review, you should be completing these problems independently before you watch this video where I will go over the answers. So starting with set A corresponds with lesson 1, which is multiples of a unit fraction. So remember, a unit fraction will always have a numerator of 1. So we are going to be writing the equation to get the answer, pretty much. So write each fraction as a multiple of a unit fraction. So we'll be writing a whole number times a unit fraction to get our answer. So let me zoom this in a little bit. There, that's better. Okay, so look at the example just for kind of how you should be laying out your answer. So in the example, it shows 5/8 equals 5 times 1/8. So a whole number times the unit fraction. So the unit fraction should have 1 as your numerator. So looking at number 1 under set A, we have 5/5. So I should be thinking of 1/5 as my unit fraction. So look at your numerator for what the whole number should be. Should be 5, whatever your numerator is. Put my equal sign here, equals 5 times 1/5. For number 2, same thing. 3/8 equals, well, my unit fraction would be 1/8 times 3, because 1 times 3 equals 3. So 3/8 equals 3 times 1/8. On number 3, we have 4/3. 4/3 equals my whole number of 4 times 1/3, because 1 times 4 is 4. Number 4, we have 6/5 equals whole number of 6 times 1/5. For number 5, 15/8 equals 15 times 1/8. And for number 6, 7/4 equals 7 times 1/4. And that finishes off set A. Moving on to set B. That corresponds with page 549 to 554, where we're using models to multiply whole numbers by a fraction. In our example, you can look to the example to remind you how to do that multiplication. But remember also, if your numerator is greater than your denominator, then you're going to have to turn it into a mixed number. For example, 6/5. The numerator is greater than the denominator, so James ran 6/5 or 1 1/5 miles. So reading the directions, remember you can record answers as fractions or mixed numbers. We always turn them into mixed numbers if we can. Write and solve an equation. So for number 1, in the picture, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths, or they also kind of separate it into 3 tenths and 3 tenths. So thinking about how to solve these, you look for the fraction and how many times it's repeated. So really you could form two equations here. You could form 1/10 times 6 or 3/10 times 2. So I'm going to write the 3/10 times 2 numerator times the whole number. So 3 times 2 is 6 over our denominator of 10. And the picture helps you to check your work because you really do see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tenths here. In number 2, count the pieces and see how many are filled in. So we have 1, 2, 3 pieces and 2 are filled in. So that would be 2/3. 2/3. So our equation would be the fraction multiplied by the amount of times that we see it. So 2/3 times 2. Two times 2 is 4 over our denominator of 3. And if you turn that into a mixed number, it would be 3/3 we can take from that, plus 1/3 would be left over. My 1 whole would be 1 3/3. And for set C, remember you multiply the whole number and the numerator and write the product above the denominator of the fraction, which is what we did do for set B. They're just reminding us of the steps involved. So we're still just multiplying a whole number and a fraction for set C. Number 1, Milo makes 5 batches of muffins. In each batch, he uses 2/3 bag of walnuts. How many bags of walnuts does Milo use? Look for the fraction and how many times it's repeated. So in each batch, he's using 2/3 bag and he makes 5 batches. So that would be 5 times 2/3. So we take our whole number and multiply by the numerator of the fraction. So 5 times 2 is 10 over 3, which is 10/3. And then we can decompose that fraction into the amount of 1 whole we can make in order to create our mixed number. So my denominator is 3, so 3/3 would be 1 whole. I know I can still add another 3/3 because 3 plus 3 is 6. I can add another 3/3 because 6 plus 3 is 9. And I would have 1/3 left over to create the mixed number of 1, 2, 3, and 1/3. Make sure I put a label on it, how many bags of walnuts, 3 1/3 bags. For number 2, a bird feeder can hold 7/8 pounds of seeds. How many pounds of seeds can 12 bird feeders hold? So looking for my fraction is 7/8 multiplied by my whole number of 12. Better know your 12's facts, or if you don't, then I'll show you what you can do if you can't recall your 12's facts, or 7 times 12 is a little bit foggy in your brain because we haven't been in school for so long. So our whole number of 12 times our fraction of 7/8. So 12 times 7, if you are thinking, oh my gosh, I have no idea what 12 times 7 is because my facts are a little bit fuzzy, then you can just stack it to multiply. 7 times 2 is 14. 1 times 7 is 7 plus 1 is 8. So we're going to have 84 eighths. And for that, I am going to need my whiteboard because this is going to be a lot of decomposition to break this fraction down into a mixed number, because 84 eighths, we're going to be able to create a lot of holes there. So in order to break this fraction into a mixed number, there are a few different strategies that you could use. What you could do is see how many one-holes you could get from 84. When the denominator is an 8, your one hole would be 8 eighths. So really you would be skip counting to 84. So on the bottom here, I'm just going to skip count to 84 because, I mean, if I keep adding my eighths, that's really what I'm doing. And it's going to make it easier for me to see when I'm finished if I have my skip counting on the bottom. Eight, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 9 is 72. 8 times 10 is 80. 8 times 11 is 88. So now we went past 84, so I'm going to stop. So that kind of helps me see that 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, I can add another 8 eighths. That would be 8 times 4. I can add another 8 eighths because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 8 times 5 is 40. I can add another 8 eighths. That would be 48. Another 8 eighths would be 56. Another 8 eighths would be 64. Another 8 eighths would be 72. Another 8 eighths would be 80. And I do have to stop there because if I add another 8 eighths, it would give me 88, and that is over 84. So counting by my eighths, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 8 eighths, and 10 times 8 is 80, plus what would be left to get me to 84, which is 4 eighths. And now I can create my mixed number. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 holes with 4 eighths left over. So my mixed number would be 10 and 4 eighths. So I'm going to write that next to my 84 eighths on my worksheet. 84 eighths equals 10 and 4 eighths pounds, because we're talking about pounds of seeds. All right, and that completes our review of 10-1 through 10-3 with set A, B, and C. Tomorrow we will be continuing on with topic 10 and moving into more multiplication of whole numbers and fractions. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and if you need anything, remember we are here and we want to help you, so just reach out to us if you have any questions, and we'll see you guys later.